a chick without a condom. That's the reason why.
Well, I mean, you got it off the message board. That was your first mistake. Anyway, we're live. Hello, welcome to the Redeye stream. Happy Halloween, everybody. It is noon on the West Coast, 3 on the East, 8 p.m. over in the UK. And nobody gives a fuck about Australia. How's everybody doing on this Halloween 2019?
Getting drunk, what do you expect?
I'm drinking Mountain Dew. You could fuck off.
It was yesterday for me.
Yeah, well, not all of us have a time machine.
Oh, by the way, the world ends.
Good.
Oh,
that was
good to know.
Time.
Hey, trick or treat. No, I don't get a beer? Fuck. I was hoping. But no, tonight we're going to be talking a little bit about the occult, a little bit about ghosts. I don't know, we'll see where the conversation heads. Who wants to begin here? Doku, I choose you.
All right. Well, ghost stories. I guess I'll start with the most relevant one. So, a few years back, I was with my mom, her husband, me, several other people. There is a place called the Booth's House. It's where John Wilkes Booth stayed right before he shot Abraham Lincoln. It's in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. It has been around since the colonial days. Well, of course, it's rather haunted. So they do these little ghost tours starting from about midnight till about 4 in the morning. And you go through the house, they show you the different rooms, give you some history, the stereotypical bullshit. But about the last hour and a half, you're allowed to walk around the house and just kind of fuck off and do whatever you want, as long as you have another person with you. Because the house is old as dirt, and, in case one of the floorboards fucking falls out, you need somebody to, run for help, because liability reasons. So my mom and her husband, they want to go fuck off and do what the hell ever. I'll say, okay, so it starts, we end in, the basement, which is, the old school, fucking dirt floor fucking basement. And everybody's kind of fucked off to do their own thing. So the only other person is this kid. He's maybe, 11, 12, 8th grade range. And he's like, hey, you want to go up to the attic and see what the fuck's up there? I'm like, yeah, sure, fine, fuck it, I'll go with you. He was there with his aunt and her sister. So aunt, second aunt. So we're up in the attic and we're just kind of sitting around. And the kid, of course, is being a fucking kid, saying, oh, is there anybody here with us? Da-da-da, stereotypical bullshit. So the way the attic is set up is there's an area, when you come up the stairs, you're looking straight towards the end of the room. So at the very far end, there is a second room. It's a mourning room. And in case anybody doesn't know, when somebody dies, they're supposed to be out of the public eye. And if you're mourning someone's death, it's not socially acceptable to be crying in public. And the whole veil over the face thing, that type of shit. So there's a specific room for people that are dying. That is the mourning room. So that's where we decide to go. And we're hanging out in the morning room for about 30 minutes. The aunt and her sister come up there, and they're hanging out. And the kid is, of course, doing oh, is there anyone here? Is there anyone with us? Make something move, show a sign, touch one of us, do this and that. The aunt and her sister, they're laughing and shit. And all of a sudden, they all stop. And I'm like, did you fucking hear that? And I shit you not, the floorboards are fucking creaking like there's someone walking. So we're expecting someone to come up the fucking stairs. No one comes up the fucking stairs, and the floorboards are still creaking. There is no electricity in this fucking room.
Well, real quick, Doku, $2 from Penoid. You was in the attic playing patty cake. Ew.
With another boy. Ew.
Fuck you too, Pinoy. Happy Halloween, motherfucker. But yeah, there's no electricity in this room. The only light is coming through the fucking window, and it's from a street light outside. And of course, the kid is now no longer being ballsy. So he says, "Hey, put your hand on the floorboard. It looks like it's moving." And I'm already a bit on the skeptical side. I'm like, yeah, what the fuck ever. So I'm like, okay. I put my hand on the floorboard, and so does his aunt. And she jumps back. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, nothing's happening. And no, I was wrong. The floorboard is definitely fucking moving. So the aunt runs out of the fucking room. Her sister's still sitting there, not sure what the fuck is going on. And so the kid decides to go, if there's someone here with us, can you prove it? The floorboard suddenly starts moving like somebody's walking into the room very quickly. The aunt and his sister run out of the fucking room. And so, of course, I get out of the room and I start leaving rather quickly. Me, the aunt, and the kid both turn around, and I shit you not, there is a pseudo-glowing kind of mist, but it's in the fucking corner. So it's not in the streetlight. It's just in the fucking corner of the room. And yeah, we book it the fuck out of there. Normally this would be like, okay, yeah, whatever. Except the owners of the house, when we told them the story, because haha, it looks like you guys just saw a ghost. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Well, apparently this same thing happened to a Japanese couple about 2 weeks earlier at a roughly the same time of night. They actually took a video testimonial of it. To this day, that's the freakiest thing I've ever fucking seen.
All right, putting my skeptic hat on. How far away is this old house from the railroad tracks?
It's nowhere close. It's literally maybe half a mile from Harper's Ferry, like the actual river crossing.
Oh, it's half a mile from Harper's Ferry.
I mean, it's
you
literally
didn't say
in Harper's
Civil
Ferry.
War era house. You didn't say half a mile from Harper's fucking Ferry either.
Now,
No, dude, it's the Booth House. Yeah, it's the Booth House. It's in Harper's Ferry, and it goes back to the Revolutionary War. The house has been around since the fucking late 1700s. It's old as dirt. That's the reason you have to go 2 by 2, because again, they've had problems where the floorboards will fucking fall out and people hurt themselves and shit. It's old as shit.
How many people were on the ghost tour?
Let's see. About 12, 13. Wasn't a big group.
Well, that's a pretty big group for an old house, though. I know they weren't in the room with you guys, but if they were walking on the same floor or up the stairs, you might get the vibration from that. I can't really explain the weird mist, though.
Yeah, that's the thing. Everybody was either outside in the basement section or on the main level of the house, because there's new construction to it. We were in the old construction level, and we asked everybody, was there anybody that was even remotely close to this area? And they're like, no. I mean, I guess you could explain it away as the house settling, because it is an old house, but it doesn't explain the rhythm of the floorboards creaking as somebody's walking. And I mean, it was a very consistent, creak, 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 creak. It was an unmistakable somebody's pacing around in the fucking room.
Was it just the sound of the floorboards, or did you hear the sound of boots as well?
I guess you could call it the sound of boots, but it wasn't a heavy boot or a heavy step. But I mean, you could see the floorboards actually physically moving along with the sound of footsteps. And I've tried my best to explain it away, but it's difficult to do. So well, I don't know, man. I got nothing.
I got my skeptical hat on. It's the floorboards and all that kind of stuff can be done via mechanical means and stuff like that. It's not uncommon for ghost houses and stuff like that to have two-way mirrors or holograms shine on bits of glass and all this. But the luminescent cloud. Yeah, maybe did you ever consider that someone who used to work at 3 Mile Island or Chernobyl just went in there and farted and they left?
Well, I guess that's a possibility. Yeah, I can't fully rule it out if that's what you're asking.
Nice. Nice. Okay. I guess my turn to show a point where things got fucking weird. Okay. I was about 13, 14, a random mate of mine's place. And we started doing the Ouija board. Yep, I know. People can sit there and bitch at me. Fuck the lot of ya. We did it. Okay, I wasn't concerned. So we're sitting there. His house is on 3 levels. Okay, we was on the middle level, and well, first off, ASSM. Right, as I say, we was on. It's a 3-level house, and we was on the middle level, and we're doing the board, getting responses, and me and my infinite genius, yeah, prove you're here. I don't believe you. There was a noise from upstairs. Now, I should point out that my buddy had 2 dogs and a cat, and they were all upstairs. They came flying down the stairs like Lucifer himself was following them. When we tried to get them to go back up the stairs with us, I literally grabbed one of his collar and was trying to drag it up the stairs, and it was fighting me every step of the bloody way. I'm not entirely certain what happened, but when we went back to the Ouija board, it's like, do that again. And there was another thud. At this point, it's like, yeah, okay, we've brought something here that we really shouldn't. And, well, maybe we made a bit of a mistake. But we packed it all away very, very quickly and wasn't concerned about it until 2 weeks later, as he comes in pointing out that every single day he hears bangs and thuds in his house when he knows he's the only one in there. Think I got my buddy's house haunted, which is kind of cool.
Well, they say, well, first off, I don't necessarily know if Ouija boards work. Second, though, supposedly if they do, you're supposed to say goodbye or whatever and close the portal. I'm guessing you didn't do that?
Nah. We was too stupid. Okay, I will admit it. But, it is what it is.
Well, let's expand upon the idea of a Ouija boards real quick. Jensen, do you actually believe that they are a gateway?
Yes. Well, at least not. No. Actually, I'd like to reword that. They're not a gateway. They're a communications device.
But if you got your friend's house haunted, then it would be more of a gateway than a communication device, right?
I personally think that his house was already haunted, and all I did was basically woke it up and pissed it off. Okay, that's the best way I can put it. And well, he was so proud because his dad was a Native American. So yeah, I'm expecting him to be able to deal with this shit. And no, that wasn't the case. I was then banned from the house.
They straight banned you?
Yeah. Fucking banned from the fucking house. Can you imagine it?
That's so messed up. Like, yeah, that kid worships the devil. We don't want him around anymore.
Yeah, that's actually pretty much how the conversation went. It's
the only problem I've got with Ouija board is that it was invented by Mattel, and it's actually called the Yes Yes game.
Yeah,
no,
I understand. The thing is enough people, if enough belief in something is focused, who knows what's real? And just by the fact that people believe in the Ouija board, well, that's a lot of focused faith and belief, and that's worrying and dangerous.
Well, no, and Farty, you're right to a point. What Mattel based the Ouija board on was what was called a spirit board during the early 1900s, late 1800s, when the seances were a big thing, ectoplasm and all that weird shit. They were making their own spirit boards, and then Mattel got the idea for the Ouija board from that.
Well, if Cliff Richard had anything to do with a Ouija board, I'd kind of believe there would be some spiritual shit in that, because they say that only the good die young. So what in the god awful bloody thing did Cliff Richard do to live so long?
Although that guy he concerns me, okay? That fucker is one very small step away from immortal. Hey, all I can say is this: his faith keeps him going. That fucker is going to be living for 10,000 years and floating around with God on one arm and Jesus on the other. And, you know, we know which of the three is the most holy, and it's not God or Jesus.
Oz in the chat says, the power of the human mind is more believable than the spirit board. Yeah, actually, they do say that it's more subconscious, right? You're actually moving the board on a subconscious level. You don't really realize it. What do you think? Doku,
No.
you've been silent.
And I've heard all of these arguments in regards to Ouija boards, and my personal opinion is this. If you took a bunch of rocks and put some sort of belief into something and expected something to happen, it's not the rocks that really matter. It's simply just a tool or a mechanism for something to manifest, whether you believe it's subconscious or if there actually is a supernatural element to it, is not my argument. The board itself is irrelevant. I mean, you could make your own Ouija board if you really wanted to, and you'd probably get the same effects. It's more about, the interaction, the human mind, the intention. Like, what are you actually doing? Like, what is the outcome you actually desire to happen? That's, I believe, what the most important part is. Like, one overly skeptical person on a Ouija board could make the whole thing basically go tits up, and it's like, yeah, nothing's gonna fucking happen. Granted, if all of you are like hardcore believers, perhaps something will happen if you actually believe in the supernatural and the paranormal.
Well, there is one thing that I will put credence behind it. One of those predictive toys is the Magic 8 Ball. It just seemed that every time I asked the Magic 8 Ball, was it getting a root tonight when I was with Susan? It said, yeah. It just didn't really matter, but she was a slut anyway. I was getting
right. Dodge, you saying about the fact of people moving it? Yeah, I accept that this is a distinct possibility, and I understand that there is the unconscious ability to make maneuvers and things. But we actually did it, and it was just our fingernail, and we were all holding it near the middle. It actually whizzed out from under most of our fingers and was still carrying on. So, was it real? Who knows? I mean, I'm not going to sit here and try and prove the existence of the supernatural. That's not my job. Someone far better at it can do that shit. I will just say that I have had experiences that lead me to believe in the distinct possibility.
Yeah, no, and I'm just bringing up the normal questions that the skeptics have here. And really, it came out from under your hand.
Yeah, no, okay, right. It was down by the Z, and it went almost off the table at the A. It whizzed clean out from under our fingers. There was only one person, and they were barely able to keep their finger on it. It was moving violently.
That's intriguing. Did he give you a name?
Oh crap! This is a long time ago. I think it did, but I'll be completely honest with you. I cannot remember now. This was like somewhere in the region of nearly 20 years ago. Sorry, but I don't actually remember. But it did give a name. Think about
No,
it.
and that's understandable. 20 years ago, jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. My mom swears by him too. I've never had one work, so I don't know.
But then again, I mean, let's be fair, Dodge. I just need to say the word tarot deck to you, and you are more than likely able to go off on so many reasons why you believe in that.
That's a fair point. Yeah. So, I mean, and they're both tools from the same box, really.
Yeah.
Um, Farty, you had said that you've actually been to some of the sites of where the murders happened from the backpack killer over in Australia, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, Belangolo State Forest is actually a semi sort of military training area. We go in there and just do navigational exercises and stuff like that. Well, this one time we were actually doing a tactical exercise and didn't actually go to the actual spots of the murders, but there's all this, stories running around that he didn't act alone and there were far more victims and all this kind of stuff. So, God, could have been bloody parked right on top of them. So, well, the first night, our lieutenant, this bloke by the name of Simon Park, he'd left his shit back at the CP. He kind of tends to lose things like platoons, his equipment, his rifle, the compass. So
God.
there's me and this other bloke. We escorted him back to the CP because, like I said, we were under a tactical scenario at the time, and we got his gear. And as we were coming back to our night lock, night location, which was just inside of this tree line, and there was this big open field. It was about 1 square kilometre block of just cleared out land. There's also forestry there that they regenerative forests and stuff like that. So on the other side of this clearing was our platoon, and there was this tree that had been felled. This was a really big bastard of a tree too. It was like about 1 metre in diameter. And we said to Park, like, you go first, we'll do Tail and Charlie and come in after you. So he's gone off. And as me and the other bloke were crossing this field, we saw this white figure on top of this felled tree. And it was moving left to right and right to left, just along this tree. And, well, the situation was that no one was supposed to be wearing white. And this was at night too, so, like, you could only just see a basic figure. And this thing was moving like it was floating, so you couldn't see it bouncing up and down with footsteps or anything like that. And I said to the other bloke, "Do you see that?" He's like, "Yeah." Well, who the fuck's the idiot that's running around with a white shirt on? I don't know. You go around that way, and I'll go around this way, and we'll cut the bastard off. So we flanked this tree, and the bloody thing disappeared. Later that night, most of the platoon had gone to sleep, but I usually stayed up during these kinds of things, partially because of my insomnia and, so I didn't want to miss the action. I wanted to hear him coming. And so no one was moving around, no one was up and about, but I could hear intermittent footsteps all over the place, like one in front, two behind at 5 o'clock, one, then 1, 2 over at the 9 o'clock. Things like that. So there weren't people just sort of walking. It was like, and then over the other side. And this went on all fucking night. And later on the next day, we just done a contact with the other platoon, and I even went up and asked them. I said, "Where were you guys last night?" And they said, "We beaved down and fucking didn't move. Why?" Well, where were you? Oh, we're fucking over the other side of the fucking the zone that we're in. So they were like 6 or 7 kilometers away. And they swore blind that they never came anywhere near us. They didn't send out any patrols that night or anything like that. So they definitely didn't find us, and they definitely didn't know where we were. So that was a little freaky. Yeah, so we're walking along after this exercise. We're going back to our night lock, the regroup, and all this kind of stuff. And fucking, there's Vecchio talking away, and then all of a sudden we hear he stopped talking, a thud, and then we look around, couldn't see Vecchio, but there was this dirty, great big fucking pit. And here he is at the bottom of this pit, going, "Get me out! Come on, help me get out!" And someone else said, "No, fuck off! I'm not touching you." And he was like, "Well, come on, help me out." I said, "Nah, man." Well, it wasn't a grave that he'd fallen in. We realised what this pit was, and it was due to a whole bunch of signs around the place that said, be careful, this place is fertilised with treated sewage. So he literally fell into a shit pit. But he thought it was a grave, which was bloody funny. It was like, Ivan wasn't that bloody meticulous in the graves, man.
Oh boy, fell into a shit pit.
Yeah. Yeah. Fucking, what was the other thing that happened there? Oh, that's right. Yeah, next night, we were on a night ambush. And I'd taken my Yowie suit with me, and I'm like the only tree in this fucking field, right? And because I'd been up for about 3 days by this stage, I was dead to the world. Like as soon as I basically just got comfortable, I instantly fell asleep, and the ambush had happened, and I'd slept through the whole fucking thing, right? I only was woken up when someone tripped over me, and they go, "Oh, there you are. We've been looking for you for about an hour." And I'm like, "I'm the only fucking tree in the field. How could you miss me?" Anyway, so walking back to our nightlock, and I'm only putting this down as because I was so fucking tired, right? I'm saying I was hallucinating. That, like, because if you've ever been out in the bush at night, you can actually see quite a bit when you get your night vision focused and all that kind of stuff. And I could see tree lines either side of this road, and this road just sort of went in a straight line for a couple of miles, and it did look like it was as far as the eye could see. There was only like 30 of us on this little road, but I could see fucking miles upon miles of like just like ranks of troops. And I'm like, who's all these people? And they go, huh? Who are you talking about? Something else. I'm like, no, all these people up the road here. Hey, what? I can see thousands of fucking people walking up the road here. Like, they're all just like, you're going fucking mad. Nah, stupid, man. So I don't know whether that was an actual hallucination or fucking whatever, but yeah. So that's the story of Belangolo. It's a pretty freaky place to go, especially when you know what happened there.
Yeah, how many people did the backpack killer actually end up murdering? Or do you guys even know? I don't think he even admitted to all of them, right?
Well, there's 7 that we know of, and funnily enough, Ivan Milat only just died in the last week or so from cancer. And well, I've got to give him props for this, because the police made the mistake of the legal system made the mistake of putting too much value in the whole point of closure, and wanting to know all the details and all this kind of stuff. And well, they gave him that weapon, and he used it against them. He took a lot of stuff to his grave. They reckon that he had an accomplice, and they reckon there was more than 7.
Really? So if he had an accomplice, then that person's still out there? Is it you?
Yep.
No. You said yeah. Everybody heard him. No.
Well, funnily enough, about 7 or 8 years ago, a cousin of Ivan Milat, this guy was only a teenager, he'd lured one of his school friends to Belangolo State Forest and then fucking beheaded him with a hatchet.
Oh, wow. Shit.
Yeah.
Damn. Your serial killers don't fuck around, huh?
Let's be honest. When it comes to serial killers, America kinda wins, though. Let's be fair.
What's that supposed to mean? Huh?
Really? Really? Okay. Let's see. Jeffrey Dahmer. No? Okay.
He's definitely Canadian.
Ted Cruz, the Zodiac Killer.
He is not the Zodiac Killer. God damn. Oh, that shit was
no.
funny though. I did laugh at that.
No, Jensen is right. You do have the most prolific serial killer on the planet, Hillary Clinton.
Oh God, no! Don't say her name, for God's sakes.
Yeah. If I commit suicide tomorrow, I didn't commit suicide. All right.
Yes,
I'll see you guys on the other side.
Suicide. We witnessed you do it. It wasn't anything to do with Hillary Clinton. Don't come after us, please.
But I mean, Great Britain had Jack the Ripper, right? And you guys had a few other serial killers.
Oh, we've had a few. Don't get me wrong. Okay, I mean, Peter Sutcliffe, also known as the Yorkshire Ripper. Shame Yorkie's not here because I'm betting he'd have an opinion on this. But yeah, he was moderately well known. Or if you want to go for one of the more modern ones, Fred West and his missus. They were really good if you needed patio laid. I can tell you that for free. And yeah, I knew you'd get that one. And well, yeah, I suppose Jack could be considered a serial killer. He wasn't actually. Oh yeah, thank you for reminding me, Oz. Harold Shipman.
It was the one that was chopping up the bodies and flushing them down the toilet, and he got caught because he blocked the dunny system.
Oh, I watched a documentary on that guy the other day. What the fuck was his name? I know what you're talking about.
Just want to bring it up from Brent Newcub. Hillary for Population Control 2020. I completely agree.
I still say we should all raid the Clinton Ranch. They can't suicide us all.
Hold my beer.
But I mean, I don't know. Serial killers isn't necessarily the most Halloween topic. It's close. But what do you think about the Warrens, Jensen? You know, they would go around doing exorcisms and shit like that.
Oh. Yeah.
Ed and Lorraine, right? That was their names?
Yeah, something like that. Sounds about right. Those two. Right, okay. First of all, reminding everyone, I actually do believe in the paranormal and things like that. Oh my God, Magic Bollocks is here. Hey, MB. Right, the Warrens. I would not trust them if they told me water was wet and fire was hot. I'm not saying that they were consummate liars, but I hear that Lucifer actually went to them for advice on how to lie. Does that give you an idea?
Okay. Why would you go that far? There was quite a few very famous cases that they were involved in that are quite interesting. Go ahead and elaborate, though, on why you think they're, well, lying bastards.
I wouldn't call them lying bastards. I'd call them lying, cheating scumbags that deserve to be anally prodded by red-hot pokers for the rest of eternity. But it's just semantics there. And the reason I say that is because of the Enfield haunting. They were fucking useless. Genuinely useless. In fact, technically, it could be said they made the situation worse. And you know, when you see a group and you think to yourself, yeah, I don't think what they're doing is working. It was working, but it was working in the worst possible way. It was actually making the situation worse. And then they ran off just as it got really bad and left the families to deal with the shitstorm.
Yeah, and, okay. These are a couple Catholics, right? And in their ultimate wisdom, they decide to gather every occult object they could fucking find into one building and then die and go, yeah, in the will, that's a museum, it stays. Yeah, that's smart.
No, yeah, no, sorry, I shouldn't have laughed, but no, you're right, mate.
I mean, seriously, they have Robert the Doll in that bitch. That is like the most cursed item ever.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, you got Zach Bagans, and no, don't start singing the Bilbo Baggins song, Doku. I'm warning you, don't do it.
The big little hobbit of them all.
Baggins.
I should not have introduced you guys to that fucking song. Anyway, you got Zach Bagans, rather well known for his ghost hunting, and he's got his own version of the haunted museum. Well, he was. He's actually quite fascinating. He's got a whole bunch of crazy shit, including things like the Dybbuk box and several other dolls that are named. And basically, if you can think of some mad shit, he's managed to get his hands on it. So they're focusing all of that craziness in one area. I can't see things going badly. Can you guys?
Yeah, I mean, okay, there's objects in the Warrens museum, like, I think they have that chair, right, where the guy died, and it was his favorite chair, and he cursed it, so anybody that sits in the chair then ends up dying shortly after, and the chair is, like, suspended from the roof, so you can't sit in it and shit.
Yeah. Totally
I'm
agree.
sorry, I had to put that comment on the screen. Just wait until someone ends up with a haunted sex doll. That's terrifying.
You're pretty fucked in that case.
No. If you want to be really concerned, it's when you find out that the ghost that's haunting it is a bloke.
Master.
But Master, can I come and wash your back for you?
So that's why my ass is always sore when I sit on the bar stool.
I neither confirm or deny anything. But, and for all of those that are listening, that are sitting there trying to work out what the fuck we're talking about, it's something to do with our role-playing game. It's basically me tormenting MC, and it's highly entertaining.
But, I mean, no, yeah, focusing all that negative energy into one area is a bad idea. Let's talk about voodoo in Haiti for a minute. The only reason that shit works is because the person being cursed believes in the curse. If you don't believe in the curse, it doesn't fucking work, because it's bullshit.
It's called sympathetic magic, just so you know, Dodge.
Well, actually, I heard a story of this doctor in, like, I think he might have been in Haiti or something like that, and apparently he got a patient that swore blind he was cursed and all this, and for all of what this doctor could tell, that, like, yes, in fact, this dude is dying. And he had a theory. He went off and he learned a little bit of voodoo, and he went and came to this bloke and he goes, right, I think I can fix you. And he waved his hands around and said a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo and gave this bloke some, what's that stuff? Epicac, or their version of it that they had back in those days. And he had a bucket, and while this dude is had his eyes closed, spewing up in this bucket, he slipped a couple of frogs in there. And then he just says to the bloke, see, look, you've just brought up the curse. That's the curse leaving you. And no shit, the bloke felt 100% better within a day or so. He was up and about, moving around, wanted to go home.
Doesn't surprise me. I'm telling you, the human mind can actually do the most amazing things with our bodies if we let it.
Well, yeah, that's why faith healing sometimes works. And the only time it really works is when the person being healed believes in it.
Then again, I mean, let's be fair, as we're talking about faith healing. Um, yeah, Southern America are rather well known for their faith healers, aren't they? And their snake handlers. And let's be fair, we could probably sit here and list for an hour long of some of the crazy shit.
I don't discuss the crazy Pentecostals, okay?
Yeah, but that's because you're part of their cult and you're not allowed to.
No. No. I've been to a Pentecostal church, and those guys are insane. I left as quickly as possible. I'm like, no, I'm Catholic. Nope, this isn't okay. They're like passing each other out and shit. The power of Christ compels you. I'm like, oh fuck this shit. I'm out of here.
And actually, Tiger Lily, it's really funny that you just brought up George Michael. We was actually talking about him earlier, whether or not people, recognize that he was gay back in the past, and then when he finally come out, and we all looked at him and went, "Yeah," and it's just kind of funny. Sorry, carry on, Mad.
Oh no, it's fine. Okay, so we had kind of touched upon the occult a little bit. Well, the most famous occultist in the modern era would be Aleister Crowley, right?
Yeah.
He's one of yours. He was a Brit. What do you think about good old Crowley? How insane was that fucker?
Do you know he was 3 sheets to the wind lunatic? Okay, not just that. All right. It's the fact that he thought it was perfectly acceptable to do very, very unpleasant things to children. I don't mind what a person wants to believe as their religion and their faith and all that lot. Good luck to you guys. But leave the fucking kids alone, man. Come on. That was where he lost any respect from me.
I don't know why his followers would have brought children with them to that weird temple thing anyway. And actually, they say that place in, I think it was in, Italy, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, either Italy or Spain. But they say that building is empty still and it's actually haunted. I don't know. I mean, Crowley lived there, so of course they're gonna say it's haunted, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I can actually answer the whole reason why people were taking kids to him and all this kind of stuff. I knew of a person. I mentioned this before. I've got a mate who's now a guest of the government for stabbing the shit out of a bloke, turning him holy. And the Sheila that was involved, this Catherine Usherwood Sheila, or as she liked to call herself, Katie Chaos, or we call her Cunty Cuntos. So she reckoned that she was all into this ruins and fucking druidism and bloody. She talked about Aleister Crowley and all this, and some of the shit that's been told to me about her and all this. Like, she reckoned that she was dying and told one of her friends that she had to kill both of her cats to save Katie's life. Had it been me and she'd said, "You've got to kill 2 of your cats to save me," I'd be just like, fucking bye-bye, bitch.
Yeah.
Fucking, I love my cats too much. Fuck you, you slut. You can fuck off and die. I didn't like the woman from the beginning. In fact, this is how repulsive this fucking Sheila was, right? She'd be popping up on my Facebook page and, like, she'd say something that I'd typically respond to. And it wasn't necessarily a nasty response either. It'd be just sort of like, keeping up with the conversation. But this is how physically repulsing she was. I'd open up the comment thing and I'd go to type and I'd be hands midair frozen, just like, I physically can't fucking respond to this woman. Like,
Wow.
I physically do not want to even know this fucking person. So yeah, there's some weird shit that was involved with how my friend ended up fucking stabbing this bloke, and she was involved, and all this kind of stuff. And thankfully, she died in a public park with a needle hanging out her arm and a big smile on her face. So we thankfully don't have to worry about that fucking loon bag anymore. But yeah, no, she was like well into that fucking Aleister Crowley cult and all this. And I did end up fucking telling the cops too. It's like, yeah, you really need to look into this bitch. And this is what they said to me. Well, hopefully she'll move out of our local area command and then she won't be our problem anymore. And I, well, fuck you, cunts.
Wow.
So we
Wow.
supporters of that caliber. Is it any wonder how fucking children got involved in this?
But Tiger Lily says Crowley's home by Loch Ness was burnt down. Yeah, and the only reason he bought that place was to do the Abramelin ritual, which is a 30-day ritual, and it's very strenuous, and you're pretty much calling up a demon. Well, this crazy son of a bitch went 3/4 of the way through the ritual, opened the gateway, and then decided, I'm bored, and fucking stopped. Okay. And it gets worse. When he's performing rituals, when he was doing magic, the caster does a circle of protection. He would do a circle of protection around his assistant, but his crazy ass had no circle of protection. He was just fucking around with demons willy-nilly. Now, whether you believe in them or not, that's not a good fucking idea, is it, Jensen?
No, but in all fairness, he obviously believed he had the strong enough will to resist their session, we'll call it, or at least their attempt at it. Evidently, he obviously was strong enough. Now, whether that was because A, there are no demons, or B, he was just that batshit crazy, I don't know. But you know what? You got to give him points for actually being that overconfident.
Do you think Horus gave him the Book of the Law?
No. Nope, because Horus, well, if you actually look back, look up things on Horus, he's actually a very law-based. And before you say, well, yeah, it's called the Book of the Law. No, I mean structure and things like that. He's basically, Horus is one of the ones that you call on to destroy evil, not to empower it.
Then why would he use Horus's name? Because, I mean, that book is all about taking the Christian and, well, more specifically the Catholicism and turning it upside down, turning it on its head, and mocking it at every chance, right? That have you read the Book of the Law? I mean, I have. That's all it is. It's chaos, and do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. That is the entire book.
Oh, yeah, no, I know, mate. You got to remember that a lot of the, air quotes, satanic lot have this strange idea about reversing things to make it more satanic. It's like, the upside down crucifix. That had nothing to do with Satanism in any way, shape, or form. I think it was like St. Paul that was crucified upside down or some shit like that. Sorry, it's not something I know for definite, but I believe it was St. Paul.
Was he Irish?
I think it was either Paul or Peter. But yeah. He wasn't worthy to be crucified in the same manner as Christ, so he wanted to be crucified upside down, yeah.
And these Satanists took that as their thing. I mean, let's be honest. You've got God, or as the Satanists would like to transform it to, dog. Well, how about that if you reverse the letters? Well, I'm just so totally impressed with the imagination of these people. Sorry, but no, okay? Just no. It's nothing that simple. And the way they describe the demons... Okay, this is going to sound odd. They make the demons out to be too human. They really do.
Well, aren't they taking the descriptions from the demonologists in the Middle Ages, pretty much?
Yeah, and most of that lot were from a Christian background. And I know you're going to go, demonologist, Christian background, what the hell? Actually, most of them were, because let's be fair, you had to be from the Christian background to be, well, generally be able to read and write. And obviously, demonologist, reading, writing, moderately important.
Yeah, no, the demonologists were usually monks in missionaries or whatever. And yeah, they spent their whole time creating these giant manuscripts. And as far as I can tell, there's no scripture to back up anything, so they were kind of just making stuff up, right?
Yeah, that's the problem. It's it's just one of sorry, I'm just chuckling at Brent. He said praise Zinch changes goods arrest, and I've gone Slanesh for the win. I should have guessed. Yes, Brent, you really should, mate. It Slanesh is most definitely my one of choice. Corn sucks dick. Yeah, you heard me, Doku. I said it.
Hey, the skull throw needs love too.
Yeah, no, okay, I agree. I can think of all sorts of sexual acts that can be done on that. Like I said,
bet you could.
Slanesh for the win.
Okay, fine.
And-
Slanesh and Korn walk into a strip club.
And Oz says, well, scripture is made up, so, you
Yeah.
know, you're not necessarily going to hear an argument from me. But at least it was made up over 2,000 years ago and not a couple hundred.
Fair, I suppose. I mean, with the whole Satanist thing, as we've gone to that point, we might as well bring it up. The Hellfire Club. High Wycombe, just north of London. Very, very interesting place. I've not been there, but I have been to Chislehurst Caves, and they're pretty bad. But the Hellfire Club Caves, well, people like to sit there and say all about the British aristocracy and the disgusting acts that were done there. Should I be the one to mention that a certain Benjamin Franklin was a regular? Anything from Americans?
Well, no, I knew that. He was mainly a regular for political contacts and dirt because they were going down there and having orgies and shit. So he then had dirt on half of the court in fucking London. But that being said, I'm pretty sure he was partaking in said activities himself.
So it was Jeffrey Epstein just in the past.
Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. Honestly, he did.
Mm.
Please don't Seth Rich us.
Yeah, it was a robbery, but they left all my money.
What can we say? No, but
They only wanted one of the paintings on the wall.
Sorry, say again?
They only wanted one of the paintings on the wall.
Yeah. Well, like I was saying, with the Hellfire Club, that place has got such a dark reputation. Now, I'm not saying whether any of that shit was true or not. I've seen enough ghost hunters go there to examine it, etc. Whatever. Until I'm actually able to go there myself, I'm not going to make any prejudgments on it. But I have been to the Chislehurst Caves. Yeah, that place is haunted. My family. Well, we would definitely class as mediums or possibly smalls, but seriously, we have a very strong medium connection, mostly in the female side of things. That's why B sees more of this shit than I ever do. But I can periodically hear it and sometimes see, corner of the eye stuff. That's how it is with us. But as I say, I've been to Chislehurst Caves. I've heard the echoes, and they're not just a rock dropping somewhere in the distance. They are footsteps that will stop when you stop, and before you say, "Oh, maybe it was yours." No, at the time I was wearing rubber-soled shoes or trainers, to be accurate, and the footsteps were boots. You can hear the difference. It's not difficult to tell the difference between the two types of footwear. So yeah, if ever you do come over to this tiny little country, go to Chislehurst Caves. It's well worth it if you're interested in this shit.
I got a bit of a letdown, sort of, haunted place. There's this little town south of Sydney called Camden, and there's a train tunnel of like a viaduct kind of deal thing. This tunnel is like it's fairly long. It's about 700 or 800 meters long, built on the side of a hillside, and this tunnel is supposed to be haunted and all this kind of stuff. People take photos regularly of orbs and stuff like that, and a whole group of us decided that we're going to go check it out one night. And yep, we get down there, and sure enough, the instant we get in there, there's people who say, "Oh, I got photos of orbs on my phone and all this kind of stuff." The problem is it's extremely humid and cold in that tunnel, being made of stone and underneath a mountainside. And the problem with when you take photos in the dark is you typically have a flash going. And when you have a lot of humidity in the air and stuff, you can actually take the photo of the droplets in the air, the condensation and stuff like that. And because these small droplets and stuff, especially closer to the lens that you get, are not in focus, they have this sort of appearance of an apparition, like a ghostly orb, like a piece of floating ectoplasm and stuff like that. And everyone was really disappointed when I just explained all that to them.
You go around bursting their bubble. That's not very nice of you. These people were happy with what they thought they saw.
Well, I am a party pooper.
That's fair, I suppose. So, go on then, Dodge. Your turn. We've all done a ghost story. We've heard bugger all from you.
Yeah, because I've told mine already. I haven't seen any ghosts this year. But, no, the usual one, like I said, the graveyard in the middle of campus by the U of O. It's by the old Mac Court, which was the basketball stadium. I was walking through there one night, and in the center, right next to a tree, I saw a couple people standing there. And so I headed in that direction. And I was about halfway there, and they both just turned and vanished right before my eyes. That was pretty interesting. And yes, I was sober. I was not drunk.
And the fact that I actually did that entire scene for you in the role-playing game, you didn't work it out. I am most disappointed. So,
and how much weed had you been smoking? None. I was looking for somebody to fucking smoke a bowl with. That's why I was headed over there. So yeah, fuck you, Oz. No.
I'm surprised Doku's not saying hit F for Squirrel Girl.
Oh, no, her bones have already rotted away at this point in time.
That's true. That's true.
Poor Squirrel Girl.
And she had it coming.
Well, just because she was throwing her nuts at you, that's not our problem. That's a you problem, not an us problem.
And she paid for it. It's her mind nuts, damn it.
So the Squirrel Girl had it coming. Is that like that girl that liked to jerk off a dog?
Yep.
Oh, God. This is not the Halloween we're looking for.
You know, at the beginning of Halloween, I think it was in Great Britain, they would, it was mainly go around and fucking fuck people's yards up and shit, right?
Trick or treat?
Yeah.
It got so bad they banned it one year. Isn't that true?
There's been calls to ban Halloween for so freaking long. It's ridiculous. And hey, nerd. He just made a lovely little comment about you, Mad. Reason Mad's ghost disappeared was because Mad thought they were cops and ran away.
I love Halloween in Australia. It's the only day that I definitely know no cunts knocking on my bloody door because, like, yeah, my reputation precedes me, and you wouldn't want your kids showing up at my place without any warning.
Nice.
But I've been waiting for it. I've been waiting for some kid to knock on my door, and I just open the door and say, "We're not America, fuck off!" And then watch the horror on his mother's face, like, "What the hell? You're being nice to my child? Yeah, you sent him into my fucking place, you dumb bitch. That's child endangerment, you stupid cow."
You know, it's probably not necessarily the best plan to make that sort of admission on a live stream, Farty. I just have to say.
Oh, no. Like, she was the one that ignored the caution meaning signs.
Okay, yeah, fair point. I mean, I do remember one time, friend of mine used to work in a shopping centre, and they managed to pinch me a bunch of, you know, the dolls that they put the clothes on in shopping centres. You know, the spongy one? Yeah. So they managed to pinch me a couple of them, and, well, I decided to get slightly more inventive for Halloween. I had them all strung up. One of them looked like it was being crucified. Another one was being hung upside down. So when the kids turned up and I threw open the door, I had a glowing skeletal mask, and there was a child, well, that's what it looked like, swinging in the background, being hung. From what I was told, the kid actually wet herself and ran.
Okay, this is more of a Christmassy one, but it should be a Halloweeny one, because what I'm going to do with it is, you know, you can get these lawn ornaments that like a light up reindeer and stuff like that.
Yep.
Well, I've got one of those. I'm going to break its legs so it's like and then hang it from a balcony by its back legs. And I've got another line of red LED Christmas lights, and I'm going to make it so it looks like it's had its throat slashed and it's bleeding into a puddle on the ground.
Oh, nice. I like that.
I don't know about you, Doku, but the only time I was ever scared trick-or-treating as a kid, I was like 7 in California, right? And it was one of those where they decorated the whole living room. So the whole living room's covered in cobwebs and shit, and it's really dark. And I walk in there, and in the middle of the room is a bucket with candy. And I was never afraid of Freddy Krueger, ever. Until then. Because I go, and I reach to grab candy out, and then out comes Freddy Krueger. Like, this dude, fucking full face paint, everything. Rah! And I fucking dropped the candy and just split. Like, I was out that bitch.
Sorry, kid. I don't believe in fairy tales.
Yeah, it scared the shit out of me, dude. I was fucking gone.
I don't know. I've never been scared trick or treating. Like, that's never been a thing for me. I've done plenty of other stupid shit that's had me scared before, but trick or treating is not one of them. Even as a kid.
Oh, I remember I went to the haunted corn maze with my girlfriend at the time and her sister. And we were in the middle of the corn maze, and there's a school bus. And I'm like, oh, we should go get on the school bus. That'll be fun. And she's like, no. And then all of a sudden, from the loudspeaker in the bus, yes, get on the school bus. I'm like, see, like it's a great idea.
Oh, I can't
See,
wait for the Family Guy episode where they knock on one specific house and then all you just hear is, "Oh boy, oh my Christmases have come at once."
oh God.
Lovely.
But speaking of disembodied voices, over in America, Burger King thought it'd be a thing to teach kids how to, like, to throw rubbish away in the bin and stuff like that. That when there's like a little switch that when you push the flap to put some rubbish in, it did something like say thank you or nom nom thank you or something like that. And this caused all the kids to look inside the bin to try and see like where this disembodied voice had come from because they thought there was someone actually sitting in the bin saying it. And of course, the flap locks their head in the gap. So
Oh,
they had this
dear
big spate of
God.
kids getting their heads stuck in the bins at Burger King's.
Genius. Absolute freaking geniuses.
Well, no, this is even better. It was at the same corn maze. It's at the very end. You go through this pitch black tunnel, right? So, you know, the my girlfriend at the time, her arm is in mine, and then she's holding her sister's arm. We walk through the tunnel. We pop out the other side, and one of the fucking people that work there has her sister's arm and is just looking at her. Should have seen her jump. It was hilarious. Like the haunted corn maze was fun. It was expensive, like $20 a ticket, but it was fun.
This is obviously an American thing. We don't do that sort of shit over here. Though, in all fairness, America really takes Halloween to the next fucking level in comparison to the rest of the world. Which, I mean, don't get me wrong, respect for the amount of effort you guys put into it, but you do understand over in Europe, we basically look at you guys, shake our heads, and it's like, why are they doing this? But like I said,
Why not?
no, I can actually respect that part. It's just you guys take it so bloody seriously.
No, really,
No,
it's just an excuse for us to act like idiots and get drunk.
Yeah,
when you're
no,
a
and I
kid,
think that's why it's most adults' favorite holiday. I know it's my favorite holiday. Christmas, I just have to spend a bunch of money on the kids. At least Halloween, I get to scare the shit out of them.
exactly. It's a free pass to be, well, when you're a kid, it's a free pass to dress up and act like an idiot and get free candy. When you're an adult, it's a free pass to get drunk, act like an idiot, and scare the shit out of kids who want free candy. What's not to love?
Okay, so this one year back when I was living in Sydney, I went and bought a Yowie suit, like a full-on, like it was a commercial grade, like ghillie suit. And after work, I'd gone to my mate's DVD shop and usually went there just have a few beers with him after work, just bullshit about my day and all this kind of stuff. And I was showing him off this ghillie suit, and I was sort of your crouching firing position type deal when the village idiot Carly Haynes, she fucking comes bouncing through the door flies open, and here comes the Carly show. Look at me, look at me, look at me, hello, hello, hello. And then she's turned her head as I stood up, and all she saw was this fucking swamp monster in the middle of the room. And instantly her face went from bright and happy to sheer fucking terror. And I thought, yeah, it'd be funny to do this. So I raised my arms and went, like that. She literally fucking ran to the toilet and locked the fucking door screaming.
Awesome.
And me and Nick are rolling on the floor fucking laughing. It was perfect.
Yeah, that was awesome. I like that. Cool.
So I get you guys don't do the haunted corn maze or whatever, but you guys have haunted houses over there at least?
Really? You're asking us whether we have... Okay.
Jimmy,
Not like the Tower of London with real ghosts, asshole.
No. I hear Jimmy Savile was a big proponent of the haunted house.
Oh God! Oh no!
That was a ghost, I swear.
Yeah, sure. And yes, Dodge, we do the haunted house, and at this point, I'm going to do the whole British arrogance over these silly little Americans. That's because we're in a country that is old enough to have ghosts, youngsters.
Yeah,
Anything?
well then why didn't you invent the Ghostbusters?
Because we didn't want to be responsible for inventing Ghostbusters 2016.
Yeah.
We do not
Okay.
speak of Ghostbusters 2016. It never happened.
Do you want to come back with another one, Dodge? I don't mind destroying you.
You're in a mood. Somebody didn't get their fucking sweeties, huh?
Oh,
Go
well,
trick or
my
treating,
sweetie.
Jensen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually a valid point that MC said. All our ghosts came initially from Native Americans and we wiped them out. Yes. I'm not, I could sit here and take the piss out of that, but I'm not actually going to because I feel sorry for the Native Americans. I mean, they had to be in the same country with Mad.
I know, and they're always crying over litter, and I just throw paper on the ground and giggle.
I'm just surprised you hadn't made a joke about Shadowbeard going missing yet.
Hey, shut up.
I mean, Dodge, your next character could always be Ichabod Crane.
Yeah, and your next character should be Ron Weasley.
Oh. Well, only if you're Hermione Granger.
No.
It's back on popcorn. Let's let them two fight this one out. This is gonna be
It's
fun.
Leviosa, not Leviosa.
Oh, now that she's old enough, who else wants to get into Hermione's vagina?
Not gonna lie, actually.
Farty's been waiting like 5 years to be able to say that shit.
Yeah,
I'm
now
not
it
gonna
doesn't
lie,
sound as creepy.
When someone showed me a photo of her, photo of the chick that played Hermione like several years after the movies came out, they're like, "No, dude, she's hot now. Trust me." I'm like, "You're full of shit." Then I saw the picture. I was like, "Never mind.
Dang.
Stand corrected."
Yeah, but she's a feminist. So,
Oh yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all right. That's what ball gags were invented for.
Nice.
You just gave me a very good idea for a new Halloween costume. Hey, Hermione, come here real quick.
You're gonna dress up like a schoolgirl from Hogwarts with a ball gag, are you?
Oh no, that's her job. I'm gonna put a birdcage on my head and dress up in a nurse's outfit. I'm gonna go full
Pictures or it
Rocky Horror
didn't
Picture Show.
Okay, pictures or it didn't happen. Not
Now
having you-
Jensen's excited.
Oh yeah, mate. Hey, what can I say? I've got much respect for Nursey.
MC's throwing his Harry Potter allegiance out there. Malfoy was a coward and a punk. He was.
Snape was the best character in the entire series. You can't change my mind.
Now, Doku says Rocky Horror, but what he's actually going to end up is Bondage Rimmer from that episode of Red Dwarf, where he says, "I'm going to
God.
get you within an inch of your life, and then I'm going to have you."
MC says Malfoy couldn't even compete with the fucking hippie called Harry.
He's right.
He's got a point. This is a valid. I'm not even a Harry Potter fan, but no, he's got a valid point. Although I stand by this. I have not finished all of the books. I have not watched all of the movies, but I know enough about the story. Harry Potter should have stayed dead at the end of it, damn it. You don't kill a character off and then bring him back. That's some bullshit.
We are totally not gonna nerd out on Harry Potter. No.
But what do you want to?
Because if we do, you're going to want to nerd out on Game of fucking Thrones, and you know it.
You said it.
No,
Not
that
me.
was yesterday.
I know, I saw it. And did that really actually get rid of one of the prequels? Wow.
Yeah, they did.
No, I
Blood
was
Moon.
totally full of shit. I went live and I lied to everybody. Yes, they got rid of one of the prequels. Yeah, they
Damn.
murdered it, slaughtered it out like a pig.
Yeah, it was the Naomi Watts fucking prequel Blood Moon, where they were talking about a gender swapping fucking Land the Clever or some bullshit. It's like, no, dude, don't. Just stop while you're ahead, and thank God they did.
Right. First of all, hold up. MC, I completely agree. Doku, how did you manage to avoid making the sort of jokes you could make with the blood moon and women? I mean, really? Really, dude? You avoided that? Aren't you a nice person?
I did my best just to not get Maddodge's channel demonetized. I was being nice for once. But
Okay.
I think I did make some undercover snide jokes without being too obvious.
Okay, all right. I'll let that one go. It's just the moment you said blood moon, the stupid grin appeared on my face, and I sat there waiting. And it's like, any minute he's going to say, son of a bitch, he didn't. Damn it.
Yeah, well, you know, when I very first heard Blood Moon, I thought it was going to be a series that was going to revolve around Melisandre and her shadow children, but yeah, you know. Jokes like that only come around once a month.
Nice.
Okay, that was pretty good. What's another Halloween topic? Witchcraft. So, Doku, how is it being a witch?
Good. I don't know. I don't bleed once a month. I bleed every day.
Dodge, you pronounced it wrong. He's not a witch. It's you say it with a B. Okay, not w. I can understand why you're getting confused.
See, this is where Farty would come in and say, "Good evening, constable." Yes, I have remembered that one, Farty. It's one of my favorites.
Okay, what's the other one I do at a random breath test?
See, I forgot that one. Not even going to pretend to remember.
Can I help with you? Yeah?
Ha ha ha, blowing of this.
Oh yeah, the one in there where you smile and just fucking drive away because yeah. Now I remember.
But no, witchcraft. Jensen. Yeah. Now I get to make fun of Wiccans.
Go for
Okay,
it.
what kind of hippie British bullshit is Wicca?
I'm sorry. Should I really go on with the Salem witch trials?
Oh,
Isn't
we're
that
gonna
in
get to them. We're gonna get to those.
America? Oh,
Wicca, isn't
Yeah,
that
we'll
what you
get to
make
those.
baskets
But
out of?
what about Hammer of the Witches? Didn't you guys write a whole manual on how to kill these bitches?
Order Malice, and yes.
Wicca,
Shame you
isn't that
guys
what you
never
make
actually
baskets with?
learned. Sorry, Farty, go on, man.
Yeah, Wicca, isn't that what you make baskets out of?
Yep, you
No.
sew up the witches, and that's where you make your baskets.
Yeah, no, but Wicca or the Wiccans, that was created by a British guy, wasn't it?
Actually, I think no, Order Malice. That would have actually been the Italians. It's Latin, after all.
Inquisition.
Exactly.
Yeah, I believe that actually all started with the Roman Catholic Church, and all during that time period, and just got co-opted by other religions as things progressed throughout the ages.
Because
But
no one
that's-
expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Well, pretty much ever since the death of Christ and the rise of Christianity, that's kind of when everything sort of went tits up in Europe. Superstition and belief in the supernatural and paranormal kind of had a big spike right around the fall of the Roman Empire and going into the Dark Ages. But that's a long conversation that's probably more appropriate for like one of Pete's High Strangeness streams. So I don't want to get too far off track into that one.
No, okay. The history of Wicca documents the rise of neo-pagan religion of Wicca and related witchcraft-based blah blah blah. It was organized in the early 20th century when it developed amongst the secretive covens in England. I know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Also,
Hands up who believes Dodge knows what he's talking about. Anybody? Didn't think so. Next.
Well, also isn't Wicca just a derivative of like Celtic beliefs?
Yeah. See, this is the thing.
There's creepy little book there. What's up, Pete? How are you doing?
And speak of the devil.
Well, to be honest, you are correct. The British, we do know our witches quite well. Let's be fair, it was us that created the job of Witchfinder General. But let's be fair, if you are really going to sit there and start blaming witches on us, I'm just going to go Salem witch trials. Come on then. And you're going to lose that argument, Mad. Let's be honest.
We're gonna talk about the Salem witch trials. I would like to hear your guys' theory on the root cause. Was it just hysteria? Was it contaminated rye? What do you think it was?
I would actually go with hysteria, purely for the simple fact that most of it was done because the women in question were being accused of banging their way around town, because after all, they weren't married, and they were getting the eyes of the married men, and it was a very easy way of getting rid of them. Then it spiraled off into, well, the complete hellstorm that it became. And quite simply, a whole bunch of people got murdered for nothing.
Well, personally, I reckon it's sort of similar to, like, you could put it to the same as like with Hitler, someone who, has a belief system and has a lot of people believing in his bullshit, and he's only just really using it to be a massive cunt to people. Because if you look at like all of the witch fucking finders or whatever the fuck they call themselves, all their tools, like the mark of the beast, where like they supposedly stab you and it never bleeds and all that kind of stuff. Well, that was spring loaded. Like, that was never going to leave a mark or never make you bleed and all this kind of stuff. And they full on knew that their rhetoric was bullshit, and they full on knew that, like, like any smart ass, like someone who's got like 3 points of fucking IQ, would be able to see through their bullshit and all this. And they were just taking advantage of dumb people just to be arseholes. And you probably find too that because most of them are real fat ugly cunts, they were probably just pissed off because all these Sheilas were fucking everybody but them.
Yeah.
So wait, hold on. Are you making the assertion that a bunch of jealous crazy bitches use the power of the taco to convince a bunch of potatoes to go around and kill all the thoughts?
Yes.
No. A select few people who have a slightly higher intelligence than everybody else realize they could dupe a bunch of people and then kill a bunch of sluts because they wouldn't root them.
Okay. I don't think that's exactly how this happened. Okay, it started with a bunch of kids, and these kids were hearing stories from a Caribbean or Haitian slave, and she was telling them stories about voodoo and different stuff like that. And then they started wigging out. As it started to spiral out of control, people started accusing other families that were better off than them. So, my neighbor has a bigger house. I would like a piece of that property. If they admit to being a witch, they won't be killed. But they'll lose all land rights. Therefore, I can now buy that land cheap. Or maybe just confiscate it. And so they started to use it to gain in the local politics or the local land rights within the village. And it just got completely out of control by the end.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. But that, again, is the American version, because, we didn't exactly have much in the way of Haitian slaves over here. It was kind of not really a thing.
Yeah, you guys just had the Irish. I mean, we don't talk about that. Sorry.
No, it's actually true. And remember, We didn't have slaves. We had indentured servants. There's a big difference. The spelling is so different.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I don't know, Doku. What do you think? Do you think it was just people stabbing each other in the back, or I have heard the idea that it was ergot poisoning from the rye?
The most likely explanation is it was a combination of the two. I think there was, hysteria that stemmed from ergot poisoning going around at the time, or any other number of diseases. Probably not just ergot poisoning, but also the clever bunch of the group probably realized you can capitalize on hysteria. Like, this is my traitor coming out in me. Anytime that you see people freak out, or you see hysteria, or some sort of people acting like people, when they succumb to emotion, there's going to be the level-headed person in the group that realizes, I can take advantage of this and manipulate these people to my personal benefit. That's going to happen. It's happened throughout human history, and it goes on to this day. So that's really what I think it boils down to. I mean, let's be blunt. I hate to derail a little bit, but I'm going to. This is exactly how the mainstream propaganda media post-World War II has made all of its money and profit and developed the level of clout that it does. They capitalize on fear-mongering and hysteria. That's what they do. They've turned it into a fucking art form. And it's nothing unique or new. And people have been doing this shit since, the written word ever existed. So it's not common, but it's a tried and true tactic. It works. That's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, I don't know, because ergot poisoning, I mean, okay, the Salem witch trials lasted for months. There's no way they were eating contaminated rye that whole time. So I don't know if that's necessarily a good explanation or not. And real quick, guys, down in the description is the BitChute link. Sooner or later, YouTube will be kicking us off, just like they're gonna kick all your favorite creators off the platform. Go ahead and click on that link and subscribe on BitChute in case we get the axe. Thank you very much.
Well, personally, I don't think it's ergot poisoning. I reckon it was the CIA and MK Ultra.
But to answer your question, when it comes to the Salem witch trials, I think that is more of just a case of mass hysteria. Like, there's always been a social stigma against things like, witches, devil worship. I mean, Christians, even to this day, and back when Christianity was still a budding religion, there's always been persecution and stigma surrounding people that have differing viewpoints and beliefs. It's easy to capitalize on hysteria. Salem witch trials is just one of the prime examples of how you can take mass hysteria and use it to completely destroy a fucking society and essentially brainwash a bunch of people. It's a very interesting psychological case study if you look at it from that perspective.
Well, we're headed into the last half an hour or so of the show, probably. So, it is Halloween. Favorite horror movies? Vardy, what's your favorite horror movie?
Happy Feet. That's fucking frightening.
Oh, the Nazi penguins? You're right, but, we don't speak of them.
Penguin stepping.
No, but seriously, you got a favorite horror movie? How about one made by Australia?
Yeah, actually, Wolf Creek, the original one. It's really good.
I think I saw the remake. Didn't they remake that in like 2015 or 2016?
There was a part 2, and then there was also a TV series. Part 2 was pretty good, but the TV series, they really fucked it by having a little tiny girl get the best of Mick Taylor. Yeah, get fucked.
Jensen, what's your favorite horror movie?
House on Haunted Hill, 1958. It's the only horror film that has ever scared me.
What was scary about it?
It's so weird. the bit that scared me was the loud thumps on the ceiling of the spook moving around. I don't know why. I cannot explain it. But that is the only film that's actually scared me. Even ones that do jump scares just get a, oh, that's about it, really. But that film, I was actually nervous. And that's actually very interesting, Jez. But it is a bloody good film, though, isn't it, mate? What about you, Dodge?
Oh, I like so many of them. If I had to choose just one, probably Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one. It was just one of the first horror movies I saw. It was great for its time. I also like the Puppet Master movies. I want Doku to go first here, but then I want to talk about what went wrong with Hellraiser. Because, oh, fuck. How do you fuck up Hellraiser? And they did. They murdered that franchise. But Doku. Good horror movies before we get to Hellraiser.
I don't know. For me, it's always a back and forth depending on what mood I'm in. But John Carpenter's The Thing is probably my favorite. But I also have a soft spot in my heart for Event Horizon.
Both sci-fi, interesting.
I like the blend of sci-fi and horror. It kind of like the reason Alien was so good, because in a way it's believable and it doesn't deal with the supernatural.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Well, I guess you could argue that Event Horizon kinda does, but there's still a scientific explanation given to it, which in my mind, that's what makes those movies that much more terrifying, because yeah, you don't need a grimoire, or, chant a fucking fancy little Harry Potter spell. No, just aliens and fucking extra dimensional bullshit. Yeah, that could potentially happen, depending on what you believe in.
Well, they do say any technology sufficiently advanced would seem like magic to others. So, what is magic? Let's be honest.
Well, when you put it like that, I mean, we were talking about with the Salem witch trials, people manipulating people and all this kind of stuff. I think they said it best in the TV series Outlander, where the main character explains to the Sheila that went back in time, most of these people around here have never moved more than 5 miles from this village, so they really wouldn't know what the hell is going on out there, you see. But I have, and I can, I've seen that the religion's bullshit and all this kind of stuff. And that was just his way of explaining how, dumb people could still believe in things like Christ and all that kind of stuff because, well, yeah, they haven't been out in the world to see it for themselves. Everything does seem magical and mystical, and from the man with the long beard towing the fucking sun across the sky and shit like that.
That's fair. That's fair.
Well, no, and Brent says they had to use the license. So they put Hellraiser in the non-Hellraiser scripts. Enough said. Yeah, that was part of the problem. But Hellraiser 2, I don't think they did that with. And that movie wasn't up to par either. Should they have stopped after the first Hellraiser and just had a self-contained story, not a franchise?
There should have been only one. Yes. Actually, very much so, yes. Because Hellraiser 1 was good. Okay, it really was. But the monstrosities that came later, wow. Okay, wow is the only word I can use to describe it, and it is not wow in a good way. It's more of a wow, I actually want that hour and a half of my life back, you bastards.
Yeah, you want to kick the director in the nuts, wow. Right?
Yeah.
What do you think, Toku? Have you seen the other monstrosities of that series?
Only when I've been really drunk, which tells you exactly how I feel about those movies. The first one, okay, don't get me wrong, I like the first Hellraiser, but I think it's very deserving of the title cult classic, because it's not necessarily like it's unique or a masterpiece in its premise or acting or anything. It's very much like how Pulp Fiction was received when it very first got released. It was very, very popular amongst a set of diehard fans. But no, it should have been a one-off movie. Like,
Wasn't there one of the sequels where they made the character, the Hellraiser monkey, the good guy?
Yep.
Mm.
In fact, on and off, that was basically what he was for all of them apart from the first one. And if I may, just for a sec, this will only really mean anything to Doku, but did you know that Games Workshop have created a bunch of horror books, and they actually got the actor that played Pinhead to do the reading on one of them?
wait, for real?
Yeah, not joking.
Okay, I need to check this out because that's an audiobook I need.
Yes, I completely agree, mate. I don't know what it's called. You'd have to look that up yourself. But what do you say to that? I mean, you know, can you imagine that dude's voice reading you a horror story?
Oh, that
And
sounds fucking amazing.
It does, doesn't it? Especially since it's like a Games Workshop shit. So we're not talking airy fairy demons. We're talking blood-soaked monstrosities.
Oh, and that's the thing. Since we're off on a little bit of a tangent, people really don't give Games Workshop enough credit. Like, I know they like to keep their intellectual properties like very much close to the chest. Like, they do not throw that shit out willy-nilly. Like, you want to talk about gatekeeping. Games Workshop is the epitome of, no, you do shit by the book, you follow our lore. If you so much as deviate a little bit, nah, you're out. Bye. Get the fuck, like, get lost. But I really would like to see Warhammer and Warhammer 40K go a little bit more mainstream, just because, dude, there's so much fucking potential there, and Hollywood is fucking creatively bankrupt as it is. I don't need to see any more recycled fucking live action remake crap.
Did you not hear about the fact that Games Workshop and Marvel are coming together?
I did hear about that, but that actually really, really worries me because Marvel's under the Disney umbrella, and Marvel already is suffering from the wokeness. But we'll see. Because if anybody's going to give them a swift kick in the fucking nuts, it'll be fucking Games Workshop.
True. And Jez, it may well be, actually. It sounds about right.
Well, I know they were talking about doing I think Arch Warhammer was talking about this, but they're doing a TV series or some shit.
Yep. Yeah. I dread to think how crap that is going to be. No offense to them, and let's be fair, GW does awesome work on its lore, but I just don't think that the normies, and please put that in air quotes, would actually understand it enough that it will actually succeed, and that's the problem.
Well, that's the thing. I think it's gonna be fairly well produced, and it's gonna follow the lore pretty tightly, because everything Games Workshop does follows the lore fucking tightly. But it's gonna be the reception. And to be blunt, whether you're doing Warhammer or Warhammer 40K, it is a very, very, very dark, kind of grim sort of story. Like, I remember people are saying, like, oh my god, Infinity War is so dark, it doesn't make me feel good. That's the whole fucking point, dude. It's not supposed to be a fucking feel-good movie. Go watch fucking October Skies or some shit if that's what you want. Go watch American Beauty. Go watch a fucking plastic bag dance in the fucking wind while Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez cries in the fucking corner.
What the fuck did I walk back to?
But no, it's going to be the reception that's going to make or break what happens with the Warhammer 40K TV series. Because a lot of people aren't going to like it simply because there's not really a lot to like. Like, the whole universe itself is just this grim dystopian future. Hey, you want to talk about Halloween? Okay, let me tell you about the existence of somebody that serves on an Imperial Navy vessel as someone who loads a fucking gun for one of these ships. Mm-hmm. for one of the main batteries, one of the main broadside batteries on an Imperial ship of the line, the ammunition that it fires is about the size of a small airplane, and it doesn't get loaded using, like an automated loading system or anything like that. No, let's say you just get conscripted from a hive world. You get put on an Imperial Navy ship. Your likely job is to be what they called a chain gang, or chain gang. What that means is that these gigantic fucking shells that they fire out of the size of these ships for a broadside barrage, the size of a fucking 747, get pulled and breech loaded by hand by a bunch of fucking slaves pulling chains on a ship. That's how they fucking do things. Because they don't trust technology.
I don't think that's actually what you mean by chain gang. See, like where I've always been in chain gangs, it's when you have lines of people and you simply pass one to another, to another, to another, to another, to another.
Well, no, that's kind of what they do, actually, except you're talking about a few hundred people that are all chained together, loading these fucking gigantic shells. Like, if you go look up some of the actual art image, or artwork for these things, you'll see a bunch of chain gang people fucking loading gigantic fucking bullets into a breech loader on the shell of some ship floating in space in the middle of nowhere, and your life expectancy is about, correct me if I'm wrong, Jensen, but about 3 months, 4 months maybe, if you're lucky.
Oh, God. If that. Let's be honest. Okay. You're describing that as a bad thing. Now start thinking about the servitors. These are the people that, when they're no longer useful as a chain slave, they lobotomize them, hack off their legs, shove them onto tracked bodies, shove a computer in their brain, wipe their mind completely, and then they go back to being on the chain gang, so they don't even get away from it that way. Yeah. And Jack, you asked how they feed all those slaves. What do you think they do with the dead bodies?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's kind of my point. Like, whether it's well received or not is not going to come down to whether or not they stick to the lore or the production value or the acting or anything. It's just really going to boil down to the fact, are people actually really going to watch this? Because there's not really a lot of happy moments. It's, well, as the saying goes, in the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, there is only war. It's a very dark series. There's not a lot of happiness to be found. Pretty much the only happiness you find is knowing that you killed your enemy before they killed you. That's like bliss to people in this world.
Yeah, I don't know much about Warhammer or whatever, but you know what movie I almost forgot about? Jeepers Creepers. What do you guys think of that one?
Like the original, the second was a fucking joke.
Get a lot of those sneakers.
No, actually, I like Jeepers Creepers. That was kind of cool, but again, there should have been only one. You can pretty much put that quote on most films, to be honest with you.
That's a fair point.
I don't know. I mean, they overdid, Nightmare on Elm Street and Halloween and all those other ones. They just kept pushing them out. But then again, there was some gems in the middle of all those.
Yeah, like Leprechaun in space.
Oh, God.
You know what? What's worse, though? What's worse, Leprechaun in the Hood or Leprechaun in Space? I mean, they're both on par with each other, right?
No. The worst one is Leprechaun back in the Hood. They have 2 stabs at that one.
Oh, dear God, no.
Well, this took a turn south real quick.
We still got about 15 minutes left. Cursed movies. The Omen, Poltergeist. There's a few movies that they actually believe the set was cursed. What say you?
Yeah, you find half of those people died in their 70s and shit, and they're like 60 when they made the friggin' movie.
Not when it comes to Poltergeist. The little girl died, dude.
Yeah, she had problems though.
Yeah,
She was a little girl.
No, she had serious health problems and stuff like that weren't diagnosed at the time. Like, yeah, there was the rumor that she was mentally unstable from that movie, but like, yeah, she had a whole mess of other stuff going wrong with her.
Sorry, dude. Go on.
Go ahead. Yeah, no, Jensen, I was about ready to tell you to go ahead, and then you started talking again. Go for it.
Okay. Basically, a lot of that stuff is put out there as hype to bring up attention to the film, to get people to go out and watch it years after it was out. Most of it is rubbish. Now, does shit like that happen? Yes. I mean, I know that Damien had a bit of a bad reputation, but again, I actually still think most of the stuff connected with that was just designed as PR hype for the movie.
Yeah, I've seen too many Looper and grunge and like videos like that where they go in and explaining it and all that kind of stuff. Like you have that, was it the Cannibal Apocalypse or whatever it was, Cannibal Holocaust? Like I'd already known that like this was so sort of realistic at the time, but like they full on said that like, oh, this is like, you know, a true story and all this, and they had to come clean when the director was actually going to get charged for murdering the crew and stuff like that, and had to bring the crew out of hiding and say, no, they're still alive. Here, see, they're walking and talking. It's not like Weekend at Bernie's, we're not holding them up. And like even with like say Texas Chainsaw Massacre, they came out when that came out and they said, oh, this is based on actual true events. Well, it's loosely based on Ed Gein, loosely. So there's an element of truth to it.
Yeah.
Well, true, but like with the Omen, didn't someone die on set or whatever?
Yes, but that's the point. That was just a perfectly normal accident that got PR'd into Lucifer himself turned up and smoked him. Okay, I'm sorry, but just because a dude died on the set, let's be completely honest, okay? A movie set is a really fucking dangerous place to be, especially with modern movies. I mean, don't get me wrong. Now, modern, it's a lot less because let's be fair, half of it's done on fucking computer anyway. But you look at like the 60s, 70s, and 80s, when you saw pyrotechnics, people were literally getting burnt by that shit.
Yeah, back in the old days when they did westerns and shit, they actually used live ammunition and fired to the side of the person they were shooting at before they realised that was fucking dangerous.
How long did that take?
A fair while, actually.
Oh shit, you just shot John Wayne.
Yeah.
John Wayne's such a man, he'd catch the bullet between his teeth and crack it open.
And then shit it out the other end. Now, even like let's say Brandon Lee, for example, like with The Crow, like they were saying, oh, it's all this fucking, just like his daddy died young and, you know, during a movie set and all this. And it's like, well, what were you doing firing live ammunition out of a fucking blank firing gun in the first place, you stupid bastards?
Well, you see, that was somebody's major fuck up, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's why I didn't bring up The Crow as a cursed film. The Poltergeist, though, had a lot of people that ended up dying that were associated with that film. Even the director, right?
Well, I'm actually quite surprised they haven't said that, like, you know, they tried to pull Paul Walker's fucking accident and said, oh, yeah, the Fast and Furious were cursed because, you know, he was driving fast and he died.
Doku, you've heard the story about Wizard of Oz and the fucking midget hanging themselves. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the Hollywood lore / superstition, but I mean, dude, come on. When you're talking about a lot of these people, especially in regards to the person that hung himself, they're not like A-list actors. They kind of have a shit job to begin with, anyways. So
yeah, but just on that one though, like the HD version kind of fucked everything up because now you can actually see it's a like a bird figure. It's not an actual midget hanging.
I'm kind of with Jensen on this one. A lot of the stuff gets blown out of proportion because, as the saying goes, never let a good tragedy go to waste. But I don't know. As far as like cursed films and that type of thing, I don't know. I don't really buy into it that much.
I mean, well, like just with the Wizard of Oz, I bet you didn't know that the Tin Man had a revolver.
He didn't. It was the straw man that had the revolver.
I'm pretty sure it was the Tin Man. But anyway, that comes out with the HD version. You can plainly see it.
Yeah.
No, you know what's funny? The Tin Man, that paint on him, had asbestos in it. Motherfucker got cancer from that fucking job. And I guess the midgets, they were all really well, they got arrested for having orgies and shit in the hotels, and they would grab up on Dorothy. They were perverted little bastards. See why I'm scared of midgets? They're fucking perverts. I told you guys.
I'd just like to go back to the Crow for a moment. As we know that the gun was loaded with blanks, but apparently one of the bullets was real. Bang!
There's a fragment of projectile from a previous firing still in the barrel.
Ah, that explains the things. I was going to say because yeah, one bullet was real and the rest in there were all blanks. That's either an assassination or really fucking bad luck.
Well, the weird part about it is the way that these blank firing weapons work is that they've actually got a sleeve down the barrel, so you're physically not supposed to be able to fire a live round out of it because, well, the gun is supposed to pretty much blow up from that design, and they've actually got they're supposed to have like specially designed cartridges, so they'd be like, you know, say a 38 cartridge, but it'd be necked down and crimped, so it'd still fit like a normal bullet, but yeah, it definitely can't fit a projectile inside of it. So how they fired a blank firing gun is beyond me, and still not have it blown up. But yeah, okay, that would explain how you would get a bit of projectile stuck in that kind of a thing. But still begs the question: why'd you fire a live round out of a blank firing gun in the first place?
True.
More to the point, how did you do it? Because, like I said, you're not supposed to.
I don't know. I never saw the point of blinks anyway, really. You could add the sound effect later, just do it all in post-production.
It's more for the flash and the like. It helps with your cues and all that kind of stuff. So like you're not going to stand there and then jerk the gun around like they did on Jag. There was this one episode where they were investigating these snipers and they were walking along this line of blokes in the prone position firing, and you could tell that they're just shaking the gun when they're firing because there wasn't any casings coming out the side. There wasn't any muzzle flash, and it looks really, really bad. So if you had someone go, you know, pop. Or say, for instance, Star Wars, the first scene where they enter the tent of 4, right? The muzzle flashes were the cues for the special effects department to actually edit in the blaster bolts and stuff like that. And it does look good. Like they even in some cases in a lot of say Schwarzenegger movies and stuff like that, where you see the gigantic muzzle flash coming out the gun, like in a real time situation, like an M203 creates very, very little muzzle flash as a bit of a design thing, so the enemy doesn't see where you're shooting at. But you see, like they overcharge the cartridges just so you get this gigantic muzzle flash, and it's all for theatrical effect. But having said that, in the military, it does. They use blanks to basically give you the full on experience that you're actually shooting the firearm, you're hearing the noise, you're getting used to all the bangs and stuff like that. It's not as loud as an actual live round with a projectile and all this kind of stuff, but it does work the action and do all the things as if you're doing it with a real bullet, but just not hitting anything.
Makes sense. Anything else you guys want to cover here? We're approaching the 2 hour mark, and that really sucks because I see Dade just showed up. I wish you two would figure out this notification thing. I mean, there's a reason we hit the bell button, right? Come on.
But the only thing I'd say is don't forget we've got part 2 of the role-playing game going on Saturday. So if you're interested, hop along and watch.
Yep, that'll be noon on the West Coast, 3 over on the East. We're also after that going to be doing my birthday stream. I'll open it up and we'll have more people on. I think Jez is going to swing by and a few other people. So that should be fun. I turned 35. Yay, come call me old. It'll be fun.
Oh,
Baby.
Baby.
Happy Halloween, everybody. And yeah, Dade, I'm sorry, man. You might want to restart it, dude, because we are wrapping up here. Everybody enjoy your night. I'm going to be taking my kids out trick-or-treating. That should be fun when I steal their candy. I mean, check their candy. Yeah, that's totally what it is, right? You know what I'm talking about, Doku. No.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Candy tax.
Yeah, teach them about taxes. Take 1/3 of all their candy. Good night, good luck. Don't go to France. We're out of here.